Okay, so let's start talking about classifying triangles. We already know what a triangle is. That should be a pretty simple thing. So let's just define a triangle. A triangle is a three-sided polygon. And we name our triangle based on its corners or vertices. So this is triangle ABC. Okay. The vertices are the corners. So angle A, angle B, and angle. Well, not really the angles, but the points. Okay, so A, B, let's call them the points. Points A, B, and C are the vertices. Okay, because when we talk about the vertices, we're talking about these 3 points right there. The sides are the other pieces here. Notice I labeled the sides in lowercase letters. So the sides are A, B, and C. Or you could say the sides are segment BC, segment AC, or segment AB. So there's 2 different ways to name the sides of this. Okay, so not all of this is really new. I named my triangle ABC, but that's because it's alphabetical and I just have a tendency to do that. You could name this triangle BAC. I can name it triangle CAB. I could name it triangle BCA. There's a bunch of different ways to name it. But you name your triangle based on 3 vertices. Okay? Make sure you use your triangle symbol because that's going to separate it from talking about angle ABC, which is just the angle here. So watch your symbols. It's very important. Speaking of the angles of a triangle sum to, and you probably already knew this, 180. That's pretty old news. So when you've got a problem like this where one angle of a triangle is twice the other angle and the third angle is 54 degrees, what's to measure the smallest angle? So let's start by drawing a picture. There's a triangle, random triangle. One angle is twice the other angle. So I'm going to call one angle X and one angle 2X. The third angle is 54. Not a problem. We know that these angles have to add up to 180. So X plus 2X plus 54 equals 180. So 3X plus 54 equals 180. 3X equals 126. So X is 42. So that means my angles now are, you know what? Let's label these. Let's call this A, B, and C. So my angle A is 42. Angle B is twice that, so 84. And of course, angle C is the 54. So what's the smallest angle? There's my answer, 42 degrees. Okay. So now it's your turn. Let's take a look at a problem. You're going to find out what X is here. Now, there is a symbol here you may not know. We'd already talked about parallel. That one's last night. This symbol here means perpendicular. And you may know that from a previous course, but perpendicular means makes 90-degree angles. Okay, 2 lines that are perpendicular are going to come together to form a right angle. So they tell me AB right here is perpendicular to M, which, oh look, there's a little right angle symbol. Okay, so we've got the 3X here, another 3X here, X here, and then the 50 is there. Figure out what X is. So you're going to work on this, you're going to put your answer in, and then after you do that, you can continue on the video. So give it a shot. Okay, let's see how you did. So the first thing I need to work on here is trying to figure out what is where. So I thought, you know what? I see a big triangle. So let me use that to my advantage. I'm going to highlight my big triangle here. Right there. And what I see here is that I've got 90 here. Well, wait a minute. These are parallel lines. And parallel lines cut by a transversal, alternate interior angles are congruent. So that means this angle has to be 90 degrees. So now in the big triangle, I've got a 90-degree angle, a 50-degree angle. That leaves me with 40 degrees right there. Okay, now things get tricky because I'm going, this 40, this 3X, and this missing piece have to add up to 180. I'm going to call this piece Y. So I know that 40 plus 3X plus Y has to equal 180. I also know that if I look at this 3 angles here, that creates a line. So I know that Y, X, and 3X have to be 180. So Y, x, and 3x have to be 180. When I put all that together, I get, you know what? Let's move to 40. 3x plus y equals 140. And this is y plus 4x equals 180. We have two equations with two variables. And I learned in algebra that I can solve that by substitution. If I move my 3x to the other side, this problem says that. If I move the 4x, this one says that. So now I could say 140 minus 3x is the same as 180 minus 4x. Add my 3x over here. Whoops, wrong side. Add the 4x over here. There we go, that'll work. Subtract 140, and that leaves me x to be 40. And there we go. That's all they wanted. What is x? So let's classify some triangles then. A couple things to classify. Equilateral, all sides are congruent. You probably already knew that. Isosceles, at least two sides congruent. Those two sides would be the legs. Scalene, no sides congruent. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Quick question for you. Check this out. Okay, so the question was, is an equilateral isosceles? Yes, it is. Because if it's equilateral, it's got all the sides congruent. Isosceles only needs to have two. So all of them is at least two. So yes, an equilateral is a special kind of isosceles triangle. Classification by angles. When we look at classifying by angles, we've got acute, which means all angles less than 90. We've got equiangular, which means all angles congruent. Which, by the way, these two are the same kind of triangle. Equiangular will be equilateral as well. And our third one, right triangle, one right angle. And obtuse, one angle more than 90 degrees. Okay, so there are some angles there. All right, so here's your next problem. There's three problems here. Let's slide that down so you can see. With these three problems, I want you to solve those and put your answers in, and then we'll come back and check them out. Okay? So coming back and check these out, this one should be pretty easy. 30, 57, I'm looking for x. So you probably were really quick to figure out that my missing angle had to be 93. Okay, if you got that, good job. Ratios. A lot of people forget what to do with ratios, but remember, they're the angles of a triangle. So this is 1x, this is 2x, and that is 3x. That's one way we can handle ratios. Well, now I know that all of these, because they're the angles of a triangle, have to add up to 180. So that's 5, 6x is 180. So x has to be 30. So my angles have to be 30 degrees, 60 degrees, and 3 times x, 90 degrees. Last one. Well, let's see. These two angles are part of a triangle. We can see two triangles here. There's one triangle here. So that has to add up to 180. So that means this angle has to be 78. Well, then these two are a linear pair. So that means this angle has to be 102. And now I've got another triangle on the other side here. And that has to add up to 180. So that leaves me 49, which is the angle I want. ZYP is the one I want. So angle ZYP equals 49 degrees. Okay? All right. Well, that's about it. And I'm going to ask you one more question to end this video, and then you're good to go. I'll see you tomorrow.